Right up front, I want to compare and contrast traditional business operations to find and follow so that you can really get a feel for what find and follow looks like and how operations would be different if you were to implement this in your organization. So we'll go into more detail throughout this course, but first I want to give you a vision of where we're headed. So business operations generally look like this. An employee gets asked a question or receives some kind of prompt, and they need to respond. Now, in this moment, they typically do one of three things. They either work from memory to respond, or they ask a neighbor for help, or they try to come up with their own solution, even though there's already an existing procedure. All of these approaches create a sense of chaos in business operations because everyone's memories are fallible, so they tend to do things inconsistently or incorrectly, and supervisors get overwhelmed by the amount of questions they get asked and by the number of mistakes they have to fix. So that's typical business operations. But in a find and follow organization, things run very differently. And the key difference is that when an employee gets a prompt that they need to respond to, they rely on using a digital resource that's easy to find in your system and simple to follow. Let's look at an example pretending that I'm an employee who works at a bank and a customer asks me whether international checks can be deposited in the mobile app. So I go to the bank's knowledge base or knowledge ops system and type in some keywords just like I would in Google. I see the guide I'm looking for, click, and within 5 seconds I have my answer. And anybody else in the company who gets asked that question would have a similar experience for that prompt, and hundreds of others, all without needing to interrupt anybody else or try to go from memory. Now let's say I work in IT, and I need to set up single sign-on for an application. I do a quick search, find the guide, and follow the prompts. Even if this is a really complex process, the digital guide walks me through each question and each step of the process just like a GPS map. Or maybe I work in the healthcare industry and I need to add and bill insurance for a patient. I can pull up the guide and follow the prompts. And finally, let's say I work at a property management company and I need to prepare for a move-in. I do a search, find the guide, and follow the checklist. Imagine everyone in your organization doing this. Nobody has to work from memory and everybody's using the same guides, doing things the same way. Supervisors aren't overburdened with questions and nobody has to recreate the wheel and come up with their own way of doing things because the guides are simple to find and the steps are easy to follow. When you are a find and follow organization, that's what it looks like, and your operations and your new hire training will run much smoother. So now that you've seen what it looks like and you know where we're headed, let's just take a step back and talk about the main reason that business operations are so difficult in the first place.